Hey everybody, welcome back to our channel. Today I'm going to show you how we set up our monthly budget for our cashed envelopes. Let's get started. If you watched our last video, you might have seen our bullet journal flip through, where I flip through and show you guys how we set up each month. And you might notice that it looks exactly the same. We have a calendar on one side for all my husband's cash tips, and then we have the diagrams on the other side that we color in when we are filling up those envelopes every day. If you did not see our bullet journal flip through, I will link it down below. Please go and check that out first before I show you guys how we set up each of our months. So we do our cash envelopes a little bit differently. We don't take the money from one paycheck at the beginning or the end of each month. We actually only do our cash envelopes with the cash that is coming in from my husband's cash tips. So the things that we have on here are not things like rent, they're not our utilities. That stuff we already have set aside in our bank account from our monthly income. This is only how we use our side hustle and our cash tips in order to fill out our cash envelopes. Each month we have some things that are the same that we need to be filling out for our cash envelopes, and sometimes we have something that pops up that's different for each month. So when that happens, I just keep a sticky note in the book and I start making a list of what I know is going to be on that page. And so when I start to design or color in what we're going to be working on, I have it all here laid out for us. So since I set up this page the exact same way every month, I'm just going to first take a look to see how many weeks are in the month of May, and then I'm going to start plotting that out. So as you guys can see on this side, it's just a very simple calendar. I like to go back and forth in order to take a peek at what it looks like from the previous month. I don't really have it memorized. I just like to flip back and forth and see, okay, is it something similar to what it is? I always have my Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Fridays boxes are a little bit bigger. It fits nicely on the page. It works for me. I know it probably bothers some of you guys, but just to have it just like that is the way it's worked out for us. I do add a little bit of color, try to do something fancy, so I might switch it up sometime, but as for right now, this is what works for us, and if it's not broke, why fix it? So over on this side's a little bit different. I like to get a little bit more creative, so I'm going to go ahead and fast forward again in this part as well, add a little bit of music so you guys can kind of see what it looks like, and I'll zoom you in for a close-up after. So I always like to start off with a pencil first. This way I can kind of map out where everything is, and if I mess up I can erase it. So sometimes I go in with just the marker, but typically I like to start off with just the pencil. So this time for May flowers, I've decided to do a flower for each of the cash envelopes, and each envelope has a different amount inside of them. So for example, the big flower in the middle is for our debt snowball, debt number 2, which is his car payment of $2,000 a month that we're shooting for. And in the petals, I've broken it up so that there's 5 different sections. If I were to redo this page, I think instead of saying like 400, 400, 400, 400 on each of those big petals. I would say like 400, 800, and go up for the whole amount instead of just doing the one amount around the whole entire petal. But this is what it worked out for this time. When I go in with the markers, sometimes I draw right over the pencil, but sometimes the color's not dark enough to fill it in, so I like to erase it instead. And again, these are the Pentel Touch markers. I like to use them. I think that they work pretty well. And then I'm using a U-Brands kind of like a fine liner pen to fill in all those parts on the inside as well. So each of these flowers relates to one of our cash envelopes, and what we do is once we get the money, I fill it out and I put the money into the cash envelope. For example, with our plane tickets, we are going to be paying these off to my parents. So as soon as we get the $125 in this envelope, I'll take the money out and I will give it to my parents. But for things, for example, like our Hawaii fund money, it goes into this vacation envelope, and we are saving this up until our trip happens in June. So as of right now, we have all of our money from the last few months in here. So for this envelope, we're just going to keep the money each month and put it away. If there is ever anything that needs to be due into our bank, such as my student loans that comes out on the 9th of each month, we'll save up that money first, and once that money is in the cash envelope, I take all the cash out of there and I put it into an envelope that we have for the bank. I used to say bank here, but we've used it so much. So once I know how much money needs to go into the bank to pay it, I put the money into here, I give this to my husband, and he takes it to the bank in order to deposit that money. So this is what our layout looks like for May. I hope you guys have enjoyed watching. If you follow us on Instagram, you'll be able to see on our stories when some of these things get all filled in. And this is just what works for us. Your bullet journal might look different. If you have any pictures of your bullet journal, I would love to see them. Go ahead and tag me in those as well. And if you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the comment section below. I hope you have a wonderful May month and that you reach all of your financial goals as well. Thank you guys for watching.